Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel Webonsky. Today we will learn how to create a new server on AWS or EC2. After logging to your AWS account, you will need to search here EC2. Actually, this is the service of creating instances or servers on AWS. So click on EC2. You will see a panel like this here. It will brief you how many instances you are running. So right now it is 0. Let us create a new one. Just click on instances and then click on launch instances. We have many tabs here: quick start, my MIs, AWS marketplace, and community MIs. You can click which type of server you want to create. Like I am going to create a new Ubuntu server, so I will choose Ubuntu, and it is already created. See, you can see here Amazon machine image. So these are Amazon machine images which is already created. Just you need to select and start creating the server. Or the other way is just click on quick start and find here the server you want to start with. So this is free tier eligible and Ubuntu server 20.04 LTS. So I will choose this server to create our instance. So it is 64-bit. Just select. So by default, free tier is eligible for t2.micro. So I won't change anything. Just let it be like this and click on configure instance details. Here we have only one instance, so obviously we are going to create a single server, so therefore we have one. It will all automatically create a new network virtual private cloud. You don't need to make any changes here. If you already have created some IAM roles, you can choose that from here, or also you can choose from later after creating the instance. I will show you how you can create that as well. So let's click on next, add storage. So by default it is creating root SDA1, a root device, and being attached to with your EC2 instance, and the size will be 8 GB. Just click on next, configure security group. You can add a tag here as well, so let us see how you can add it. So I am giving environment as a dev. So this instance will be for our dev server. So you can, if you are creating your server for production, so you can keep the keys always same and just change the value of the key just to identify what type of server you are creating. So you can keep this key always and then change the value of the key based on the server type. Click on next. Now by default the security group is like, by default we will able to connect with the server using SSH. Otherwise, if you want to after creating the server, we won't be able to access its home page on the browser, because we are not opening the port 80, because HTTP is has port 80. So right now we will be able to access the server using SSH only. So let us proceed, and I will show you how we can create or access our server using SSH. So I am choosing create a new security group, review, click review and launch. You can review the type of server you have chosen, and instance type is T2 micro, resource group so will be 22, and click on launch. Before going forward, you must have download this key pair, because you can use the already created key pair, or you can create a new one. So let's create a new one. So the key has been downloaded. Click on launch instances. So it is launching. Let's click on this link. It is the instance ID. See, you can see the instance state of the progress. So it is pending. It will become available just after finishing all the processes. It will show you running. See, now instance is ready and running. This is the instance ID. You can click and give a name to this instance or server. Now it is done. From this panel you can see the details of the instance, like this is the public address and this is the private IP. So this is the address using which you can access the server. So right now if I try to open, it won't open because we don't have allowed port 80 from the security group. So it will not open the page. Instance type is T2 micro. And this is the AMI ID from which we have created our server. From the storage, you can see the storage. This is the device. And it is 8 GB of size. So we call it volume. Our storage devices is called volume in AWS. This is the status check. So system status check running, instance status check running. So everything is fine. Let us connect using our private key. Now you can see I have connected to my server, and you can see how I can connect it. See, this is the command you can use, ssh-i, then the em file name. In our case it is dev demo.pem, and then the server username, that is Ubuntu, and then @ the public IP. So this is the only command you need to hit on your shell terminal, and it will ask you, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Then you will need to just write yes, and after writing yes you can just hit enter and you will be able to connect with your server. It is showing that usage 18% of 7.69 GB is used. Like, you can see a summary of your current server as well as soon as you connect with your server. So we have connected to just recently created server, and now let's start further. So we successfully connected with our server, and now let us open the port 80 so that we can access our page. Click on security. This is the security group. You can directly click on it. We have inbound and outbound rules. So inbound rules are those when traffic comes to our server, and outbound rules is something like from the server what you want to access outside. So always from server it will open for to access everything, but in inbound we will open only those port which we want to open. Unnecessary port should not be opened on the server. It works, security group works like a firewalling, so be careful when you are opening a new port or anything. Click on edit inbound rules. Here we have only one rule. Let us click add rule. This means we can connect with our server on port 80 from anywhere. Click save. We are still not able to reach to any page because we have not set up any web server on our EC2 instance. So let's install Apache so that we can access the default page, and I can show you we are able to access that page or not. We are updating the Ubuntu package first, then we'll install Apache. It is installing Apache. Apache is installed. See, we already have a default index.html. So let us now try to access that page again using a public IP. So we are able to access our default web server page using IP, public IP, or we also can use public DNS to access the server. So we will get both the same page using both, whether public DNS or public IP. So this is how you can create your own server on AWS, and how you can create a security group inbound rules so that you can access your server using port 80. And suppose you have a new domain and want to access your website on port on HTTPS, then you will need to open a new port, that is 443, which is for HTTPS. So you will need to open that 443 port as well if you want to access your website using HTTPS. One more thing I want to tell you here. This is a public IP, public address, and this is public DNS. But as soon as you restart your server from here, if you want to reboot or stop and then restart, this IP will get changed because this is dynamically assigned to our current server. To keep a permanent IP address, you will need to create a new elastic IP for your server and assign that elastic IP to your server. We will see that in a next video so that you guys can also create in that manner. But right now we have set up a new web server, Apache. So we are able to create a new EC2 instance or server on AWS. Let me show you how you can associate a permanent IP address to your server as well. Click on Elastic IPs. From here you can click Allocate Elastic IP address. It will create a new Elastic IP, and then after creating that Elastic IP, you can just associate it with your instance we just created. So this is how you can permanently assign an IP address to your server, and you will get your server ready. If you guys find this video useful, please like and subscribe.